but it's like, you know what he's thinking. It's weird.
That's acting,
I mean, yeah, but I don't know, dude.
Like if you can convey emotion, without words in just body language.
Yeah, but
one, it's universal, but two, that's just more control of your state, Like you can make things happen that aren't really there. That's crazy. That's
I don't know,
acting.
he's just staring, dude.
Yeah, his dialogue skills not great, but his overall presence, I think it's like doing comedy. Like
Thanks a lot, Marcus.
Your one-liners maybe not great, but your riffing or your crowd work can be great, and you're still a good comic. So it's like he's still a good actor. There's just another part of it that he's...
Dude, I want to be the person that just gets cast as an assassin. I mean, that's not true. He did like Hardball. But even in Hardball, it was like, I don't know, man.
Hardball.
He didn't even cry when Gigi died.
Point Break, right? He did Point Break.
I don't remember
and
that
then
movie.
That was Kurt Russell.
Speed.
There's a bomb on this bus.
He always plays like the calm, collected, fucking alpha dude,
Yeah. I think I can't talk.
I think
the first time you really see him show, and this is one of my favorite Keanu scenes too, is the first time you see him really go through a breath of emotions, but he also has to do it with almost no dialogue, is when they sew his mouth shut in The Matrix, where he freaks out in the thing because it's a slow but progressive. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's a progressible look at like it's anger, disbelief, and then
what the
confusion,
fuck do I do?
shock. And then again, anger. Like he comes full circle almost, and it's in like 8 seconds, and it's no dialogue really.
Yeah.
So he's a good actor.
I know that. I'm not saying he's not. I just don't know how. that's all I'm saying. It's just strange, dude.
He commits. He does those like gun course. I like watching him go through those courses on Instagram.
And dude, it's weird because like you can tell. And when he does his movies and shit, it's like you can tell he has some, definitely some training, dude. Like, I don't know.
What it looks like is that he had a bunch of hobbies and he talked a bunch of people into, like, paying him to do it on screen. They were like,
it's so true.
Yeah, they were like, hey, man, what do you like doing today? Surfing. Cool, we'll give you a movie, Point Break. Awesome, dude. What are you really into now, Keanu? Buses. Like... All right, put him on a fucking bus.
And bombs.
I've been really into bomb squads
and
lately.
Going fast. I like racing.
But only at the posted speed limit.
And not lower.
Yeah. What have you been practicing now? There's this magic trick I've been trying where, like, you stand in front of a gun and you dodge a bullet.
That would be such a Keanu thing.
They're like, you can't do that. Can we still do it, though? I guess. How?
Well, we can do it on the screen, right?
We'll make it work. I want it from every angle. You want... All right, dude. Fucking... We'll go around you. What are you into now? Still guns.
I feel like he's not creative at all.
He's a good cup for a director to fill.
Yeah. They're just like, all right, here's how it's gonna look. He's like, just tell me what to do.
When they was training for the Matrix, they're like, what else do you like doing? I've been doing jujitsu.
I know Kung Fu. And they're like, we're gonna put that in the movie.
You know what's upsetting is that when you watch the Matrix, little to no jujitsu. Like he's like, jujitsu? I'm gonna learn jujitsu, and it's like, no, apparently you never learned it. There's like zero jujitsu choreography.
Well,
there.
It's like, who's doing that though?
Yeah,
You know,
that was like '98. You're right. You're right. No one.
Jiu-jitsu.
But now,
but
John...
no, I didn't even. That's so funny that you say, because I didn't even realize that that's what he said. I forgot about that line. I remember the Kung Fu line, but yeah, you're right. It does say jujitsu.
I was very martial arts obsessed when I was a kid. My mom was like a big Steven Seagal fan. My dad was a big Mike Tyson fan.
Did that Aikido?
Yeah, but see, she called it jujitsu, and that's how that was. Because the first time I was like, yeah. So I looked up what jujitsu was, and I was like, I think my mom's wrong.
Like, these people would kill Steven Seagal.
Yeah, really. He's just throwing him around.
Heartbeat.
This dude's gonna strangle Steven Seagal with his own belt. How crazy is that?
43 seconds.
Speaking of which, last jiu-jitsu thing, I guess. Did you see that dude get knocked out in the last UFC fight on Saturday?
No. Wait, the 4-second one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Dude.
The knee to the fucking head?
As soon as I saw that, I went, he's dead. He's dead.
Dude, it's moments like that make me realize, like, yeah, I can never be a fighter.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way, dude.
I swear I heard his skull crack.
Dude, it was that's so crazy.
And with that, we'll get into this.
I've, like, bumped my head a few times on shit, and it's just, like, the worst.
Dude, yeah, I hit my head on the corner of my trunk, like, getting out from loading stuff. And for 3 days, I'm complaining about it.
Yeah.
Like,
get kicked in the head, dude, and like, I'm gonna be in the hospital for a year.
yeah, I bet if they let him, Askren would be in the gym the next day going, yeah, no, it hurt a little, but whatever, just don't hit me on that side. Like,
Who's the guy that hit him?
fuck, I don't remember his name.
He should be in jail.
Like, I know it. It's just not
Whoever
in there
that
right
is
now.
should be in jail.
Yeah, that's attempted murder. And it's also they planned for the fight, so that's murder in the first degree if he ends up dying.
Premeditated the way I see it. Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Laguna Motors. We make car buying easy. Why waste time with Craigslist clowns and sled lots with trailer offices? Buy with ease. Buy with confidence. Come down to beautiful South Orange County and buy from Laguna Motors. Follow us at Laguna Motors. Visit us at LagunaMotorsOC.com. That's LagunaMotorsOC.com.
Hadouken! He's on fire! Come here!
It's me! Listen!
Hey everybody, this is me introing the episode for the first time in the 27 or so that we've done. I think that's what we're at, 27?
I think we're at like 32.
32 that we've done. So welcome to another episode of Gameboiz. I'm here with George Ferrito. My name's William Henderson. Today we're talking about, well, there was some change in the PlayStation Plus free-to-play games, so I guess we can start there, and I think we're going to hit some news.
Why do you think that happened? That was such a weird...
I don't know. I read it was a Sony decision, but they didn't really offer an explanation. They just kind of said, this is happening. So,
what a power move. Why? Because we said so.
Because that's what we want to do. I don't know, man. I have no idea. I don't know what would even, like, especially like a free game. It's like, why wouldn't you just be like, yeah, we'll just put those games next month.
This one too. Or just add it on. Just like, we're releasing this month? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Because even the developers, whoever makes, what was it, Pro Evolution Soccer?
Yeah.
They were like posting stuff saying like, we don't even know.
Oh,
like,
that's weird.
We just got the announcement today. Like when we saw it, they saw it. I was like, fuck.
And for the listeners who don't know, the two games that were announced last month was Horizon Chase Turbo, and then fucking
how dare you?
Soccer Evolution.
Pro Evolution Soccer.
You just said it.
Don't insult them.
I wasn't trying to insult. I just don't respect them in general. So
nobody gives a fuck about that game.
About soccer.
I can't believe anybody. I can't believe people were like, "Hey, let's try to go up against FIFA." You stupid.
Right. I mean,
it's like somebody trying to make a new football game. It's like, oh, you're gonna beat out Madden.
I mean,
Are
technically,
you?
It is a new football game, but whatever.
Shut up. American football.
Yeah, FIFA is such a... Even as a non-soccer fan, I know what and who makes FIFA and what it looks like.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Why even bother?
It's because it's one of the best sports games. This is probably the best sports game.
The best?
I would say so.
Strong words. What makes it the best?
The best sports game.
Yeah. What makes it the best sports game?
Just gameplay, flow, graphics. Like, it's always had the top graphics among sports games.
Yeah.
For sure.
They've always had, like, when it says in-game footage, they've always been the closest. Like, in terms of, like, oh, shit, that wasn't far off from what that looked like.
And it's super fun to play with other people. I don't know. It's a great game.
Cool.
It's just altogether good.
I just need, like, a FIFA Street to come out, so it's, like, a watered-down version so that I can digest it. And have like a black dude in the background yelling, "J.U. Ice, that's nice."
J.U. Ice.
That was my favorite NBA Street holler. Do you have?
There was a FIFA Street, wasn't there?
Was there?
There had to have.
There was an NFL Street.
There
I know that.
Had to have been.
Which was
FIFA
dumb.
Street.
They're like, "Hey, let's put NFL on a blacktop." Like that's road
It was
rush.
actually kind of dope, though.
Do you ever have those I guess those video game hollers stuck in your head, and you're like, "Why do I remember that?"
No, I don't.
No, just me. That I'm the fucking crazy person.
Dude, there were 4 FIFA Street games.
Were there?
Yeah.
Are there any
between the years 2005 and 2012?
Okay, so there's none on the PS. If there was one right now, I'd buy it. Like,
yeah,
I'd give it a shot. Did it look good?
Oh, sorry. I mean, they're old games. It's not gonna. That brings me. So, I've been playing Heavy Rain because the games that were switched in for Pro Evolution Sport was Detroit Become Human Digital Deluxe Edition, which gives you Heavy Rain.
Right, and the soundtrack to Becoming Human. Which seemed, I agree. When I saw the download, I was like, why am I having so many things?
Do you need that to play the game? Is that like a thing that you play like in it, or it's not like a file for the game, right? It's
no,
just,
as far as I know, it's not. It's a separate, because the deluxe edition, I cannot talk today.
Yeah, it's okay.
Came with a book and the download code for the soundtrack, and again, Heavy Rain. But again, I don't know who just bought Detroit.
Is the soundtrack dope?
I haven't listened to it.
But I mean, you're playing the game.
The game soundtrack is it's good in the sense that it's like, okay, I get the emotions that we're evoking, but it's not good like Game of Thrones good, where you're like, this is dope, where it's like a good soundtrack. So it's like, it does the job, but it's not something I can listen to.
That's how Heavy Rain is too.
Okay.
The music is very much centered around the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very much so. It's very cinematic in that sense.
Yeah, Heavy Rain is a very like, here's a story, play through it. Like, we'll see how your actions let the game play out.
I didn't get a chance to try Heavy Rain, so I don't know even what it looks like or what the gameplay is.
Dude, here's the thing. It came out in 2016, so it's not like
cutting edge.
Not now. Back then, I'm sure it looked really nice. And what's interesting about it is the control scheme is very unique. It uses mostly like the right stick, and like you like move it different ways to do different shit to interact with things.
Right.
It's also interesting in that like some of the events seem to be time based. So like you'll be, I don't know, they'll send you to like this little house where you go in and then you're kind of looking around and then you're like, you get to a point where it's like, what do I do now? And you kind of like take a few more steps and then someone knocks on the door. It's like, that was random. Like, was that planned?
Like when you go to this part of the room,
right,
they knock on the door.
Like after I did I have to have done all the stuff that I did first, or like, and that's the thing is like, I don't know if it's based on what I do or if it just kind of like happens.
Right.
I don't know how much of it is consequential.
Okay.
That's what I always wondered. It's kind of like those Telltale games almost, where it's like, go to the left, go to the right, and X, circle. But it's like, I don't know if me failing will make a difference, because I haven't failed one yet, and that seems like in most games I would have failed something.
Who do you play as? Like what kind of character? Just a
there's,
person?
There's just a normal dude. It's kind of a murder mystery. So there's this dude that's like having blackouts, and he might be a killer, but he's trying to maybe prove that he's not, kind of thing.
Right.
And also like find his son who was kidnapped by this killer, but he might be the killer.
Right, so he might have abducted us. Very,
so
what's that movie, that John Cusack movie, Identity?
Sure, I never saw it.
Oh, I recommend it. Similar idea where it's like you're in a hotel, it's a murder mystery. There's like 6 people that a murder happens, and those 6 people accuse each other like every other murder mystery. But then a dude wakes up, and you realize that this is all happening in one guy's brain. So what is happening is that he's developed this aggressive personality disorder, and that his literal personalities are trying to kill each other, and they don't know who the original personality is anymore. So what he's trying to do is figure it out, or one of the personalities trying to kill everyone, and it's gonna also be the original personality, and that's the one that's left. So it's a very
what the fuck?
it's mind-fucking, but it's dope. It's a great movie.
All right, I'll have to check it out. All right, so you play as that guy. And then there's a private detective who's looking for this killer because he's killed, like, I don't know, it's always like little boys, so of course it's like, fuck, this is depressing as shit. It's like boys like age 5 to 12 are getting murdered. It's like, oh my god. So a private detective is trying to find him, and then this like FBI agent. Now this is where the game gets cool, because it was just like, I was getting kind of bored and I was almost about to stop, and you start playing as this detective. And he puts on these fucking shades and this glove, and you can like see shit on the ground, like DNA, and check it out, and like follow footprints, and like it gets interesting. And there's also this like chick
Some bitch.
There's some bitch you play as too.
Some fucking slut in the back of the corner just making bad decisions.
Just some girl that crossed paths with the first guy, the killer guy. So maybe killer guy.
Right.
I don't know. I've only played like probably 6 hours. Like it's interesting enough to keep me into it.
This third person?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, yeah, and then it sounds like the company that made these games just kind of reskinned that mechanic of third person, quote unquote eagle vision, so you can see things.
And that was only for the one guy though. Most of the other people are just like you have to like walk around and like do shit. I don't know. It's a very interesting. There's a lot of mundane shit.
Mm-hmm.
Just like get dinner for the kid, and it's like, can't we skip this in a cutscene?
Yeah.
I don't.
And have you played Detroit at all?
No. I was going to play Heavy Rain first and then play that.
Huh. I went the other way. I saw the games and I was like, I'll try that one first.
Well, I know Heavy Rain came out first.
Yeah.
So,
but the other one looked more interesting to me.
It's probably better. Yeah. I didn't want to play the good one and then go to the bad one.
Honestly, I don't know if it's better because it sounds like it's the same game mechanic, but what this is centered around are androids and how robots take over humanity's jobs, their mundane jobs.
Nice. And it would happen in Detroit.
Yeah.
If anywhere.
And it's really cool. It's very cinematic, and these games reminded me a lot of Edith Finch.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. But more
immersive.
Yeah.
Because with Become Human, it's storylines, and it's very much you're looking at the game itself is structured like you are an android as well. So instead of it being like, maybe I can tell her to do this and, time-based things, what happens is it's a progression of events, and it shows you at the end of each quote-unquote level your progression of events and which ones you missed. So like which line you took to get to that result and which line you could have taken to get to that result. Or, it'll show you like there could have been 4 different things that happened.
Those motherfuckers,
at the end
dude.
Of that. Yeah.
Just like, keep playing.
And it's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, they drop you right into like their tutorial is you're utilizing that eagle vision. You're an android kind of thing, so you can kind of pause time to view your surroundings. And at first I was like, this is unrealistic. But then I thought about it and I was like, well, as a computer, you're making 30,000 decisions in a second,
Whoa.
I guess
so
prospectively
slow down that perception.
Yeah, that's what you're doing is you're looking at it one thing at a time. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. It
That's
wasn't explained
crazy.
to me, but I think it was shown in a way where it's like, oh, that's why that's happening. So that you can see your objectives for one and go to them, meet them, find that cutscene or whatever. And then when you've gotten all your clues for said murder in that event, at least, because there's a few that you go through. When you in that first scene, once you get all your clues, you reverse time in your brain. You put all those clues together, and you hold square, and it's called a reconstruct, and you view exactly what happened in like a wireframe thing because you're a robot, and it shows you like the perpetrator and the victim and what might have happened. And then
based on the facts.
Yeah, based on what you've gathered. But
so it's like those little like when there's a real murder and people take the time to like make a computer graphic.
That's exactly what you're doing, but you're doing it as an android.
Immediately.
Yeah, so your job, since you're not a person, you're an android that works for a person, is to go back to the inspector or whoever's head of the crime scene and explain to him what happens. But in that little segment, it's also there's a timer. So you have to rewatch it. It doesn't explain anything. You have to rewatch it, and then it'll prompt you like 3, like square, triangle, and X to give him answers. Like explain to him what happened. He's like, okay, so the perpetrator broke in. Or there's another option where you can be wrong, and then that sets off another chain of events where you say maybe you misread it, and you were like the perpetrator was in the kitchen, but you have to tell him he broke in first. So now you're wrong. He's like, that doesn't sound like it lines up with the facts. And then you either go back, tell him what actually happened, or it's like, so you're saying this is what happened, and then it sends you off on another branch.
So you can just stick with the lie.
Kind of. I don't know if you can do it with every single one, because I imagine main storyline you kind of have to get to, but it's very your decisions matter, and also because you're androids, if you answer wrong, you can lose the android, you can lose the character, and that whole timeline of stories of things. and it looks.
Is the android controlled by a person, or is the android like considered its own?
It's its own thing. It's
Okay.
sentient, and
Interesting.
so that's another theme that they're playing with is you actually go through a robot like. I don't remember what those robotics laws are called, but they're the ones like a robot can't harm a human.
From iRobot?
Yeah,
Those ones, yeah.
So they operate on similar principles where like they have to obey orders, but there's a level, spoilers if you're not going to play it. It did come out years ago. But
It came out like 2 years ago.
but now that's like fucking dog years with video games.
That's true.
You have a point where you have to make a decision like there's a guy who may or may not be abusive towards his family. And he gives you an order, and it's a simple order of stay there, don't move. And there's you can either stay there or you can be like, I'm gonna fucking move, fuck you. And
Yeah.
when you move, there's a whole like internal, like it's another wireframe character trying to break through a literal like code wall. And so you have to like mash buttons and really get intense with it. And then once you do it, the robot feels different too. Like you're like, oh, this robot's free now. Like this robot can grab a gun if it wanted to and hurt its owner because
Interesting.
it's quote
so
unquote free of its
are the
programming.
controls more like mainstream where it's just like left stick to move?
Yeah,
Because in Heavy Rain you have to hold down the trigger and the left stick to move, and if you just do the left stick, it like turns the guy's head, which is kind of fucking annoying.
this one it depends on your sequence of actions. Okay. So in the murder where you're investigating the murder, the right stick is a camera, and it's also an interaction. So you do have to do certain shapes. It's kind of like Wizards Unite, that you have to make similar, like down, across, up, down, kind of like swipes.
There's a lot of that in Heavy Rain too.
Yeah, so it's that interaction, but it also moves the camera so that there's a point where you have to look at a dead body, and it's like, all right, look for clues. It'll tell you there's 5 clues, but you have to like
go left,
look
right, up,
at
down.
the eyeball and then interact with that way. But it's just the stick in that sense, and then a button prompt. There's no like you have to hold trigger or anything. It's very simple. But it's very.
I'd say the Heavy Rain's. I think probably we're talking about the same like control scheme almost. And like I don't know, with Heavy Rain there's some like hold these buttons down, and you have to like fucking like alter the way you could hold the controller. It's like fuck, like how am I supposed to like hold down square, triangle, and circle all at the same time? It's like we just mash your fucking big ass thumb across them.
Yeah,
but
it's a very straightforward game, I would say, very railroady. Even in the sense that you can make a lot of decisions. You see that there's a progression of events. And I think I haven't gotten far enough, but I'm pretty sure all of my storylines, and there's like 5, maybe 4 or 5, will intertwine because they're all kind of circled around the freedom of robots being self-aware and this drug called red ice. So I think it's like the way I'm seeing it, it's like a parallel of like you have one being trying to become free and free itself from slavery and servitude, and you have your humans as well trying, they become enslaved by this product because of the other thing, and what they're trying to do is live their own version of a freedom, but they can't because they're being strapped down. It's fucking heavy.
That's intense, dude.
But the control scheme is very unique.
Yeah.
Almost,
does it ever get on your nerves?
No. I think it's very intuitive. I think the fact, though, that Become Human came after they had time to refine it.
Yeah. That's kind of why I was playing Heavy Rain first, because I was just like, let's see how they progress.
Yeah. I don't have time for that. I just wanted the nice stuff. It's cool.
Yeah. I mean, the story's great. I'm really enjoying the story, and there's some like parts of it where I'm just like, whoa, this is pretty crazy. This is well done.
Yeah.
But the graphics aren't that great. But,
yeah.
I don't know. It's fun.
In Become Human, they play with. I really enjoy the pre-post-apocalyptic world of like androids and technology, and like the idea that what humans have against that separates humans from robots is the fact that we can create. Because they show you like the android having difficulty conceptualizing, because he serves. There's one where he's like a butler for a painter. And he's like, all right, you grab a brush and see what you make. And he he basically looks at something and he makes it. It's beautiful, but it's, as the guy says, an exact copy.
Right.
And he's like, you have to make something that doesn't exist. And
Make
he's
it
like,
your
I
own.
don't know if I can do that.
Well, you know whose problem that is? The fucking engineer, dude. They need to do a better job programming the robots, man. That's a software issue the way I see it.
You can't grow, you piece of shit.
No, dude, it's a computer, man. It does what it's made to do. If you don't make it do something, you got to make it sentient, dude. You got to make it be able to think.
Then it's a slave. You know, then it's an ethical problem at that point.
Yeah, I'm
I like those issues.
Me too.
They always fascinate me because it's like, you know.
And you know what's funny is it makes like Futurama not that crazy.
No, yeah, definitely not. Definitely not.
Like,
and they tell you early on too, in the story that, like, you know, robots and humans are the same, at least in the sense that, like, what we have is a machine. What's powering this machine is, you know, fluid and a brain. And it just so happens
they
that
really stretch that, don't they? They really people are dumb in this game, aren't they?
yeah.
I'm like, no.
This motherfucker spells it out for you.
They have oil going through their veins, dude. We are not the same. They can't save me if I need a heart transplant.
Actually, their
But they
biomechanics
probably
are powered by blue blood. It's a all encompassing
non-oxygenated,
fluid, kind of.
Right? The blue is no oxygen.
Yeah, that's the sense. But it also evaporates. It's like I guess it's supposed to be like almost like a gasoline.
So it's not blood.
It's what powers what they call their biomechanical.
You know what? I'm just
parts.
gonna play the fucking game.
It's so good. But again, I'm really trying to highlight how complex every other aspect that's not the gameplay is, because the themes it's dealing with is heavy. You know, there's child abuse in it. There's drug, everything. There's a lot of darkness, a lot of very Detroit things that they have to deal with.
Like, hey, even in 200 years, Detroit's still Detroit, dog.
Yeah, it's like 2094 and shit's still fucked.
That's how long it'll take to fucking
fix it.
It's getting better, from what I hear.
Is it?
That's what I hear.
I've never been. Is it as bad as people say? And
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I feel.
They're working on it.
All right. So if fixing Detroit was a video game, how much percentage of progression have they made?
Dude, I'd say they're probably like 12%. Like your Sim City gets destroyed by a crack epidemic and a governor or a mayor who steals all your money. You go back down to like 2, and you got to rebuild, dude.
And then you pollute your lake, and then
and they're so lucky they have sports teams that do well, like, because like the Lions, Tigers, and the Red Wings have they basically have their stadiums like right next to each other now. So it's like that's like the hub, and they're kind of building up from that because that generates so much money for
they're
them.
single-handedly holding up the infrastructure of Detroit.
They pretty much have, like, especially through that the housing crisis, like that hit Michigan real hard, and like sports were pretty much the only thing keeping Detroit going. That and like automobile, but even that went down.
Right.
You know, so it was some rough times in Detroit, dude.
I think it sounds like you enjoy Heavy Rain. I think you'll enjoy Detroit a lot more.
Probably. I'll feel more personal with it. Probably.
Yeah,
a little bit.
That's true.
Even though it's in 2094.
Their use of the whole what is it? There's a special name for. Is it a DS4? Is it a DualShock 4 now?
Yeah.
But their whole motion.
I like how you shortened it to DS4, like it's D&D.
I mean, yeah. Well, that's what you call it.
It's a DC.
When you're on the PS4 subreddit, you have to call it a DS4. Nobody wants to fucking read your letters.
I would not have known what that was. If somebody just put that, I'd be like, I don't know. Is that a new system? Is
Context clues, bro.
A Dream Station 4? What is this?
No, it's Project Scarlet, not DS. It's PS.
Fucking idiot.
It's their use of the controller is very Ape Escape in a sense that I feel like they sat down and they were like, all right, how do we use this the way no one else is doing?
Right. I think that's kind of like the main, I don't want to say selling point, but like that's what makes these games stand out. Like if they didn't have this control scheme, like they would just be games.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it shows how not creative other platforms are not being with the controller because there's like
how not creative.
Yeah, they're just like, here's a control scheme. That's what we're going to use forever, which is cool. But there's other ways you can incorporate it.
Yeah, they're working backwards from what other developers do.
Definitely.
They're like, here's what we have. Let's make it let's make a control scheme to work with it. Whereas like other games are like, well, here are the controls. Here's how we're going to implement it in our game.
Yeah, it's very Apollo 13 and like, all right, how can we use everything here?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's because you're in the future and you're reading magazines, but it's basically you're reading it on an iPad.
Yeah.
So you use the swipe to go through the pages.
They're so intuitive with their iPads.
To actually change covers is up and down. To go through pages is left and right. And there's another.
Wait, you use a touchpad?
Yeah.
Oh, word.
The swipe, so it's dope.
Dude, there has not been a good use of the touchpad.
No,
sorry,
and it works. It works nicely.
Is that the only time you use it?
So far, but again, I haven't put that much into it, but I'm 6 storylines deep at least.
Yeah.
It's a very deep game.
Yeah.
And then there's another part where you have to. You're in a struggle and someone punches you and you have to duck out of the way, so you have to tilt your controller.
Yeah, there's some of that stuff. Like you'd be driving and you have to like tilt and shit. That's cool. Yeah,
and just overall interactions. I want to say almost like an augmented reality kind of use of the controller, not necessarily a VR.
But I don't know how you hold your controllers, but there's a lot of times where I just have mine in my lap, and I'm like, they're like, put it down. I'm like, fuck, like
on the floor.
Yeah, it's like where am I supposed to go with this? Like the up one is fine, but when I have to go down, that one seems to be.
I think my default play position is the Call of Duty position. You know,
straight elbows on your knees,
lean forward, fucking.
Yeah, but there's sometimes where I like get into a cutscene. I'm like, all right, this isn't gonna be anything, and then they're like, make this button. I'm like, fuck, oh shit. Like,
yeah.
So
The thing with Become Human is that it's all timed. So if you don't give a prompt, it'll give a prompt for you and send you down the wrong path.
I think I haven't. There have been times where like I don't know how they do it in Detroit, but like when there's an option like that in Heavy Rain, the options like float around the person kind of. Like they're like, you have these 3, and you can also like check like what your character's thinking.
Oh, cool.
Which is interesting. But it's like you don't really need like as long as you're paying attention. It's mostly just to like keep you on track.
Mm-hmm.
But there will be times where like, all right, I guess I'm done here, and I'll go to walk out, and the character will be like, and they just walk back in. I'm like, what the fuck? Like I guess I missed something.
My spider sense is tingling.
Yeah. It was strange. But I don't know, man. I'm enjoying it. It's unique and it's its own game, so like that makes it fun.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it's one of those games for me that if I had to pay full price, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah, that was the thing. I saw someone comment this on one of those articles when they made the switch, that somebody was like, this Detroit and Heavy Rain aren't games that I would pay for, but I'm glad that they're giving them for free because now I will play them.
Yeah.
So that's really the kind of games that we are, they are.
Yeah, and I felt that way with Edith Finch as well.
Yeah.
And
that one, I'd have paid like $10 for that at most.
But it's not a game you'd see and then be like, oh, I'll drop some scratch for it, you know? Right.
But you're glad you played it.
Definitely. And I think it's kind of like almost, I don't want to say publicity stunt, but it's good publicity for those studios because you're like, oh shit, who made this? And then you see it again, and so I think you brought it up maybe in one of our first podcasts where it's like you end up following that group through games instead of following just the game. It's like you're like, oh no, Treyarch used to be the old so and so, and that guy used to work here, and so it's very sports like.
I know who Quantic Dream is now. So I didn't know that before I played Heavy Rain.
Yeah, it's such a good strategy now, and it's very, I don't know, I keep dropping this word, but it's very innovative in the sense of like using
unless your game is like really great, like Red Dead. It's like you don't have to fuck with the control screen. Like unless your game is amazing, you don't really have to do anything like that. But for a game like that, it's well placed. I would say that.
I agree. I want to try Heavy Rain now, though. I'm glad you talked it up. I want to try
Detroit.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't know how long Heavy Rain is.
Yeah, that was a question I had too. Because going through Edith Finch, you're like, okay, that was quick, but this game doesn't feel like that short. For mine, at least, for Heavy Rain.
It better not be, considering how slow it was at the beginning, dude. I almost stopped playing.
Oh.
It was slow at the beginning. I was like, this is boring. And then I got to the part with the sunglasses, and I was like, I'm invested now. Because there's this one point where he like goes into his office, and it's like a new office, and it's like, cobwebs, and it's all shitty, and he's like, all right. Sits down at his desk, puts his fucking glasses on, and then you can choose the fucking scenery. Like mountains, river, underwater. It's fucking crazy. It's so funny. It's like this is cool that you're putting this in here, but I think I wasted 15 minutes just going through the scenes and like it's I don't know, just shit that's wasting my time. It's like just play the game.
Yeah,
It's
Detroit dives you right into it, but it's very funny. It's self-aware because, like I said, you're doing the murder mystery guy one, and that's where you're introduced into the blue blood, and the android's like, but because the humans like there's no trace of blood, and the android's like he was probably bleeding his blue blood, and he's like, well, then why isn't it here? And so it's very expositional, and he's like, well, it evaporates after a certain amount of time. And then the detective goes, oh, and let me guess, you can see it.
So there's some animosity.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
It's very funny, very cheeky, but very smart too. So
Yeah.
big ups to you guys for making such a good
Yeah.
branch of
Quantic
games.
Dream, shout out.
I'm sorry you guys didn't get money for it, but it's a good game.
Whatever game you come out with next.
Yeah, if you guys could make the next, if you could make a cool version of Horizon Chase Turbo.
Now I wonder what would be a cool style of game to have that control scheme for that doesn't already have it. Like if you were going to use that, what would you use it for? This is a heavy question and a lot to think about in one instance, but
I think I'd do it in a fighting game.
huh.
I would. It's
Reactionary?
kind of, yeah, that makes the fight more not necessarily for honor in the sense where you have to actively like, yes, you do have to defend, but a little more simplistic in the sense that like everything does get slowed down. Because this is what I've had this argument about anime a lot with like, what does it take 7 episodes for Goku to power up and stuff? It's like, well, think about it conceptually, is that you're seeing the episode from his perspective. He's a fighter whose reaction time and perception is better than a normal human's. You're seeing something that happens in an instant over a longer period of time. And the dialogue is just exposition, really. And so as a fight in anime, everything's slower, sort of, because you're seeing it from their perspective. So if you're a professional fighter or you're a advanced, a gifted fighter or something, you would have an extra second or so to play with, and then you just elongate that mechanic. So I think that would be a good, because when we were struggling, I was like, this works. Like I can dodge out of the way. It's intuitive. Duck to the right, duck to the left, and you can
Like a driving game even.
kind of, yeah. So
Shift up and down.
once
with
you
the stick.
learn everything, you can make that work.
I'm surprised more driving games don't make use of the DualShock, the DS4
See,
motion.
it's nice, right?
Yeah, it is. the motion, like not many games use that part of the controller for some reason.
Yeah.
GTA tried to do it. Fuck, when did they start doing the motion control in their controllers? Was it the 3?
4. I don't remember anything for 3. That's why
3 definitely had it because I was playing Grand Theft Auto and you could do like wheelies and shit and you could fly planes using the up and downs and stuff. You have to turn it on, but it's an option.
Oh, maybe I just never turned it on because I don't remember
in
that.
Grand Theft Auto 5, yeah.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure 4 and 5.
okay.
I'm pretty confident.
I think it's
But I don't think
just
it
a
was.
feedback
I don't think
thing.
it was very good. But the 4 seems to be pretty good as far as reaction, like
as far as calibration.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. It's got to be tough to program that mechanic in as well, because then it's a whole other like.
I would
Where
like to
is
see
it?
it in like an RPG format. Like imagine like World of Warcraft, where like you just like make motions to do different spells or like use abilities and shit, and like each button is more like a spell, and I don't know, you could use a touchpad to move or like or use the motion control to move, and then use the buttons and shit to cast spells.
That
or
would be
some
dope.
shit. Yeah,
that would be, especially if like, or even in like if it's turn based, how the whole mechanic of the game changes, like a Final Fantasy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where if like now you have to hold, it's motion out of battle, and then in battle it becomes like a tool where it's trigger square and then swipe up for a spell or a defense spell or something. Swipe forward for attack.
I guess I'm thinking more like MMO, like Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh yeah, that'd be
type
cool.
shit, yeah.
I'm just thinking from like a code standard. It's probably easier if it's in a separate game.
I don't give a fuck
I'm just a
what's
fucking
easier.
nerd.
Make it happen, god damn it.
That would be dope as fuck. So you do RPG?
Yeah,
MMO?
I'd do everything RPG, dude.
Fucking nerd.
That's how I roll.
It's good.
It's the best game. It's the best game.
I wanted so bad when
That's why God of War is RPG now.
when I first heard about like EverQuest and stuff, I was like, that sounds amazing. But I never had like the
Quests
money.
forever. I'm down, dude.
Yeah, I played a little bit of like Asheron's Call back in the day. It was like PC of all PC games, but not long enough to like enjoy it, but enough to see where this could go. I was like, oh, this is dope.
Yeah.
This is super dope. That was over like dial-up though. That was rough.
World of Warcraft is the best game of all time, hands down.
I would agree, and I think almost all of its stats agree with you as well.
The numbers don't lie.
Yeah, they're like, it's made this much money. It's like, well, one, it's a subscription,
and
but two,
yeah, but it's a matter of like what it's been 17, 18 years now they've been running.
Yeah,
without stopping the same game. That's fucking ridiculous.
Their development team is on point too because it gets to the point where like the expansions become the main and. Even games now struggle with that, where your DLC is still not the main game. But with Blizzard, they're like, this is the new one.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Every 2 years.
Yeah.
Every 2 years.
They knock it out of the park. That seems to be a good schedule for most creative outlets. It's like 2 years, work on it, and then come out.
It's weird because when you're playing the game, we're still running out of time. But when you're playing the game, like, and you're at max level, like you're at with everybody else. By the time that new expansion rolls around, you're like, yeah, it's about time. Like you're kind of sick of the material, the stuff that they've had, and you're like, it's only been a couple of years though, but that's a long time, especially if you're playing every day.
Yeah, 10 hours.
It's like, all right, I need some new content, and they're like, you guys, we're working on it. Like you play too much. That's why they put the little tips when the loading screen that says go outside.
That's hilarious. That's great. We are running out of time. I've got one thing of news. You got one thing of news?
Yeah, I got one.
Bang yours out. What you got for me?
I found a new profession. I'm going to start DMing for money.
That's a thing?
That's a thing.
A professional DM?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure you got to be better. But
for the listeners that don't know what a DM is, what's a DM?
A DM stands for Dungeon Master. So this is basically the person that plays God in your Dungeons and Dragons game. They come up with a campaign, make sure it's run right, control all the characters that aren't the player characters, establish time, how long things take, pretty much, I don't want to say control, but narrate everything that's going on. And you can't play a game of D&D without one. So, and most people don't want to do it. They'd rather play because DMing takes a lot more thought and energy.
And you can't just show up to.
Can't just show up.
You gotta come in with a story.
You gotta come in prepared as fuck. And this dude is charging $500 a game.
How long are the games?
It's a one shot, like 4 hours.
Okay.
And I'm sure he's good. And he has a bunch of minis and shit that he uses with but
you know what? That's not unreasonable.
It's really not.
Like if you think about
if you have 5 people that all want to play, pitch in $100, make your characters.
Yeah. And what you're doing is, I mean, you're hosting an event at that point. That guy's gonna have a one shot for you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He hosts it too.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
So you don't even need a venue. It's like, all right, come here.
Go.
That's cool.
Yeah, and he might be able to like. I'm sure that he'll work with you. I didn't read too much into it, but I would love to do that.
That'd be great. How do you build a portfolio for DMing?
Fuck, dude. I've DM'd 6 campaigns over the last 25 years, 32 one-shots.
What if you just start crediting yourself like it's comedy? Yeah, I DM'd at, Downtown Comics and then Top Deck Shelf Keep.
Hey, bro, if there's ever a time to get into D&D, it's right now. It's on a resurgence because of Stranger Things, and it's just, I don't know, there's something weird about it now. There's a bit of a...
I don't think there's any weird... I think pop culture has a 30-year recycle rate.
It's like nerd shit is popular now.
Yeah, but that's because nerd shit was not popular 30 years ago, and now it is. Like, everyone that's middle-aged, that would enjoyed it as a child, that got made fun of it, now has money and can actually enjoy what they want, and it becomes mainstream. So I think that's how comic books got in. That's how D&D gets in. I'm sure Pokemon in another decade again will have a gigantic resurgence. I bet the numbers drop and they go Pokemon Legacy and it's the original 150 or something. But I think pop culture has a 30 to 50 year recycle rate. That's my theory on life.
Yeah. Dude, it's crazy. I'm actually meant to bring this up. I don't know if we were recording, but we were talking about D&D. And in the original Dungeons and Dragons manual, They say for a game, it can be up to 40 players.
Wow.
And they recommend having the DM ratio 1 to 20.
Dude, could you imagine trying to DM a 20-person? I can't imagine trying to DM a 10-person game.
Dude, imagine having 2 DMs running a 40-person game.
You'd have to have a writing table to make that campaign work.
That would be so absurd. Like, I understand 40-man raids and WoW. I could not, like, it's hard enough to get that going. That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah. That when you put it into like that big of a perspective, $500 a game is definitely not unreasonable to charge.
Dude, if I bet you if somebody was like, we have 40 people that want to play, he'd be like, I need $10,000.
Yeah.
You know how much
I
effort
need also buy more minis.
Dude,
so I need $10,000.
Yeah. Do you know how long your fucking battles would take? It would be a war. It'd be like, here's the fucking encounter for today. This whole army is marching toward you guys. What do you want to do?
They'd have to be small skirmishes just to keep it manageable.
Maybe they break up into like groups in the same
it's a big
universe.
Map too,
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
You have tiles, right? You play with tiles.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Is it way easier
for
movement and
for
battle overall?
For battle,
that makes sense.
For combat, it's good, but they're like most like I don't know. It's hard to do theater of mind a lot of times.
With the tiles?
With combat.
Mm.
If you no. Like if you're not using any minis or anything.
Oh, right.
It's pretty difficult. Even when you're doing just like role playing, where it's just like you walk into this place and here's the surroundings. People are like, wait, where's
that person standing?
Yeah, and it's like,
can he hear me when I whisper?
But then I also like blame myself because I'm like, well, I'm not explaining this good enough then.
Yeah.
So
that's because you're a smart person. I hate it's like writing jokes. It's like you guys didn't think that was funny? No, it's just not a funny joke yet.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
work on it,
yeah,
asshole.
Just work on it. So yeah, I'm getting better as a DM. I'm working on it, and hopefully I can start charging people.
That's dope. I mean, start charging people now. You know, if someone wants to try D&D, give me $100, I'll come out. I'll write a shot for you.
There's these guys that want to do it on their podcast, and
yeah, dude,
I just
perfect.
Will you pay me $200?
Yeah, well, I mean that's fine because you're also bringing material. Like you're producing a show for them.
I agree.
So again, you joke about it, but I think people should get paid for things
I was talking
that they
about
enjoy.
our podcast. But.
Yeah, no, I get it. Okay. But I'm not going to pay you.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway. But yeah, 30-year recycle rate. It's good that you can make a job off of D&D finally.
Yeah.
You don't have to make some one-off Netflix special.
I mean, people have, there's people that like do like YouTube videos of like, here's how you make terrain and fucking all this extra shit. So like, there's definitely been professions in it, but I think that's really cool.
Yeah, a pro DMer.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. If you could get a hat that said pro DM or something.
Dude, if I was making money, I would.
I'll make it for you.
Like a red hat with white lettering. Pro DM.
In some kind of impact bold font.
A D20 on it.
No, it should be. That's going to be the new trend, I think. You hang like a keychain D20 off the bill. Bro. Just a short one.
Yeah. You
could start it.
Yeah. I think when I need to make decisions, I'm going to start rolling dice in my life.
My life is a great big dice roll.
Die roll.
All right. Anyway, back to Pokemon.
Yeah.
Pokemon Sword and Shield trailer proves leak may be accurate. Now, I haven't kept up on this because once Pokemon got higher than 200, I was like, that defeats the point.
There's too many.
There's way too many to keep track of, but I enjoyed the games in terms of like the role playing aspect and I still treat my jokes in my comedy set. I can't believe I just said that word. In my set like Pokemon characters, in the sense that like they're all individual jokes. I try to keep them all at the same level. Sometimes I ignore a few and they get shittier and the rest of the jokes get strong. So I try to rotate my cycle.
And some evolve sooner than others.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very much Pokemon-esque in my approach to my comedy.
That's cute.
And my open mic is like, going to your battles through the grass and stuff. But I've always wondered why there wasn't more customization aspect in Pokemon,
No, I don't know.
Like in the original like Red and Blue, you had a character and your only customization point was you could name them or your gender later. And that was
later.
Yeah. And
I thought that was right away.
no, that wasn't until like gold and silver.
You know
I
what's
want to
funny?
say.
No, because I
Yeah.
remember picking male or female because they had the signs and I didn't know which one was which. I was like,
Well, I mean, there was red and blue, and then Pokemon
well.
Yellow, and then Pokemon Gold and Silver.
But in the original ones, you chose the gender. You had to have.
Could you?
I'm so sure because those are the ones I played the most of.
Maybe I just never did. Okay, so gender and name was all you could do.
Yeah.
But there was a trailer that showed now that you can like customize
Your avatar.
possibly your character. Again, this is
Yeah.
still like leaks and stuff. But then there was a trailer that also showed you could customize the Pokemon. Like they're your
Colors.
pets now. Colors,
Yeah.
accessories.
Accessories.
things like that. And so
Get like a goth Pikachu.
yeah, and which also means probably fucking paid content and microtransactions.
microtransactions.
You want this party Pikachu hat?
Is it going to be like is it going to be like the original Pokemon but 3D? Because that would be dope.
It's like the Pokemon on the Switch. Have you seen it?
No.
It's third person essentially.
Okay.
It's dope
Yeah,
as fuck.
that's what I meant.
Yeah,
and
so-
then there's still like the grass.
Kind of.
You
Yeah,
walk
yeah,
through-
yeah.
okay,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
everything, but it's in third person.
Yeah, and it's 3D.
It's dope.
Yeah.
I saw one trailer and I was like, I'm buying a Switch. Like that sold me a Switch, and I enjoy Legend of Zelda.
Switch is dope.
It is so fucking sick.
It's so-
I'm gonna get one soon that we can review it together.
How much are they?
They're like $200.
Really?
Yeah, they're relatively accessible.
Remember when they first came out and you couldn't find one within 700 miles?
Yeah, that's like every Nintendo thing,
Everything.
which is crazy because it's always it's never the technology that's cutting edge. It's always the games.
the games.
And
It's like,
you're
hey guys, make more.
mm-hmm. No, don't, because then you want them. That's a great strategy.
Supply and demand.
Supply and demand.
Dude. It doesn't matter. You're always they're gonna make all those. They're gonna sell out. They're gonna make more, and then only some of those are gonna sell. You're always gonna have overstock.
Mm-hmm.
You're always gonna keep making more.
Yeah.
So why don't you just make more at the beginning
And also,
sell them?
Gameboy's life tip: don't ever buy console first gen. Like, don't ever go. You should know by now that if you buy first gen, you're gonna have some problems.
Yeah.
Like,
But at the same time, it's like you want to be in there.
You
know?
You don't want to miss out FOMO, but now you can, watch video games. You're not necessarily out. You just don't have the gameplay aspect. But if you watch enough streams, you get the idea.
I have to hit the lottery before the PlayStation 5 comes out,
I agree. Or just start like a swear jar. Every time you swear at home, put $1
or
in.
just start DMing for money.
Do that.
I do one session, they'll buy me a PS5.
Yeah, you're right. One session of 40 people, and you can get
Yeah.
a PS5 and a home.
All of you paid $10.
Fuck. That's not enough money for a 40-person
It's
game.
not.
It's
No,
really not.
no, I wasn't joking about that 10,000 number.
Yeah,
That's a lot of work.
That's
I
you're
wouldn't
making a
even-
special for people.
I wouldn't even know where to start.
At person one, square one.
I would literally start with like, you guys are in a castle, in a keep.
No, you'd be like, you guys are just born. Perfect.
What do you want to do? And they're like, can we walk? No.
Nope. You have 3 actions here: cry, shit, or sleep. Roll.
They're like, this is not D&D. These are the mechanics for a baby. Yeah.
Roll a persuasion to see if they'll feed you.
Roll a D4. You can't roll a D20. You don't have the skills for that.
You can't even
all
hold a
all your
D4.
stats are 0.
It's so random. The person to your right has to roll for you. You make your decision. They roll.
Yeah. No, I would start them like, all right, you guys are in like a castle or a keep. I'd break them up into groups. Like, you're in this area, you're in this area, you're in this area. Here's where the attack is. That's where I would start. That's where my campaign would start. I don't know where I would go from there. And I'd also have 2 other DMs helping me for sure.
Yeah, that's a good play. I mean, they start movies and games like that. I think it's called I know this. In medias res, I think is in Latin. So like in the middle of a scene.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see.
And so it gives you the illusion of story progression, but also just immediately
It's
engages
like,
you.
You know where you are.
Yeah.
You know the setting. Like, it's like, just go.
Yeah.
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 That's
Marvel. That's how almost all Marvel movies start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad.
It's smart. It's just a writing technique.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're short on time.
So anyway, if you want my DMing skills, hit me up. I'll fucking do it for you.
Yeah, and that's real, guys.
I won't charge $400. I don't know. I'll charge.
$350.
It'll be reasonable. I'd do it for like $50.
7
if I can
payments of
do it-
$25.
If I can do one on every weekend for $50, that's like working my weekend job right now. So
it's like doing comedy, just going out.
Yeah.
I'm making $20, whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, and you get to get better at it. Yeah,
and I get to have fun.
If you guys want William Henderson, if you want the Slim himself to DM your D&D campaign,
we'll do one shots. I'll do the same one over. They won't even know.
Let them know. Let them know on Twitter, twitter.com/GameboizPod, or slide into his DMs at @Slim_Henderson. If you want me to shut the fuck up, let me know at the Gameboiz Podcast at twitter.com/GameboizPod, or slide in my DMs at the George F. Thank you guys for listening. Again, we'll be back soon. I got a job, so shit's busy.
Shit's wild.
It's all right. We'll see you guys next time on the Buddy System Code Network. Talk to you later. Bye.
Hadouken! He's on fire!
It's me! Listen!